What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It with your host, Bando. UFC Noche was this weekend. That was the rematch between Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. We're talking about a championship matchup here. Did we crown one? Yes. But was it the way that anybody wanted it? I don't think so. This fight ended in a draw. The crazy thing is, after I went back and did my whole breakdown and my whole review of the fight, I ended that shit in a draw too. A lot of people would disagree with me, but hear me out. Let's check this out. Let's listen. See why I came up with a draw. Here we go. So, like I said, UFC Noche was this weekend. Alexa Grasso technically defended her championship against Valentina Shevchenko, but it ended in a draw. So she really didn't win, she just retained, right? So, let's talk about it, right? Like I said at the beginning of this, I ended it in a draw too. Got the notes right here. Broke it down. And this is after the rewatch. This isn't the first watch. This is after the rewatch. So, first watch, I did a review video for the first watch. And I watched it back and I'm like, I'm going to rewatch that fight. I got to rewatch that fight because I feel like I was talking more just biased because I wanted Alexa Grasso to win, right? Then I realized the fight was close. The fight was really close. After watching it back the second time, the fight was really close. So the first video wasn't that bad of a video, but I wanted to come with something a little bit better, a little bit more information. So here it is. Let's talk about it. Going into round one. And yes, UFC Noche, I understand there was more fights, but this is the only one I wanted to break down because it ended in a draw. So, round one. Basically, Valentina controlled the pace right off rip. Right? She was throwing fantastic combinations. She was setting the pace with the jab. She was finding the distance. She was looking like normal Valentina. The Valentina that we're all expecting. She came out like a bullet. That's exactly what she did. I already saw her. She was prepping with the liver kicks. I thought she was going to prep for the liver kicks and throw something up like the same way she did against Jessica I. But the first round was the only round that she really utilized kicks at all. She kicked in other rounds, but she didn't use them like the way she did in the first round. She was throwing them with a little bit more intention in the first round, right? So she had a good first round. Alexa was landing some good shots. She landed a couple combinations, leg kicks of her own, but just couldn't seem like she could find the range, right? So she couldn't really find the range, and like I said, Valentina was landing jabs. Now, she wasn't like beating the crap out of her. She was just, landing shots. It's the first round. Kind of like sizing each other up. But Valentina was a little bit more aggressive in terms of like pace. She set the pace right off rip, right? So, not only that, she got a takedown in the round. Now, I thought Grasso did good in terms of getting back up from the first takedown. It was really a trip. She got back up. She did really good defending. But then she got taken down again, right? And then the round kind of finished out where Shevchenko was on top, right? Shevchenko was doing her thing. She had a good round, 10-9 to Shevchenko. I really didn't see it any way going to Alexa, but I didn't see it going as like a 10-8 or anything like that. It was definitely a 10-9 round. So I go 10-9 round, 10 to Shevchenko, 9 to Grasso. Valentina gets that round. So you go on to round two. Round two is a huge round. You know why? Alexa knocks her down. She knocks her down with a beautiful right hand. On the third punch of her combination, she lands. She threw a right, a left, and came back with like a late little right, and she caught her. She dropped her. They didn't count it as a knockdown, but she did knock her down. She went stumbling back, and she definitely got knocked down, but she got up quick. Valentina got up very quick, and although it was a quick recovery, she shot for a takedown. Good stuff by Alexa. Alexa stuffed the takedown. That exactly what she needed to do in that moment was stuff that takedown. Forced the clinch, landed elbows, uppercuts on the inside. She was landing knees to the body. She was doing her thing. So Alexa was winning this round, no doubt. Then you get to the point where she didn't blow the gas tank or anything like that, but she got excited. She's feeling herself a little bit. Steps back, kind of takes a second. Valentina shot for a perfect double leg. Boom, she got it. It's good on the judges' scorecards, right? But to me, that knockdown is much more than you getting a takedown. When Alexa knocked her down and she landed a couple shots in the clinch, she looked like she was doing damage to Valentina compared to the takedown that Valentina got that she didn't hold down very long. She did finish the round out with it, but it wasn't a long rest of the round. But she didn't do much with it. There wasn't much control. There wasn't much work. There not much damage, right? Kind of just sitting, working for the next position. She wasn't doing much. So, in my opinion, 10-9 round. This time, you give it to Grasso, right? So, look at that. We're 1-1 going into 3. So, we're already tied. I don't see many people arguing that. Many people had that 1-1 going in 3. Some people, actually, Chael Sonnen said that he had that fight 5-0 to Valentina. Not sure how he got that, but 1-1 going in 3, no doubt. So we're going into the third round, and this is an important round. An important round, in my opinion, because of the way that I scored it compared to the way that the judges scored it. Now, I'm not a professional judge, but hey, the way that I saw it compared to the way that they saw it, there's a bit of a difference. So, if you saw the scorecard, there was a lot of 10-9s and one questionable 10-8. That questionable 10-8 was in the 5th round, and we'll break that down in a minute because we're on round 3, so we ain't going to worry about that yet. But that questionable 10-8, to me, the 10-8 round was round 3, and that 10-8 favored Valentina. The reason I say this is because this is Valentina's best round. She did exactly what she did in round 1, but she turned it up a bit. She was landing better combinations. She was looking quicker. She was controlling on the takedown. She had a couple submission attempts that were very close. Shout out to Alexa for defending those defending those submission attempts and getting out of the guillotine, getting out of the rear naked attempt. Very, very skilled. You can't teach that type of instinct. She was doing her thing on the ground, getting out of it, defending it. But at the same time, Valentina dealt the most damage in that round. And the way that I looked at it, it just looked like she dealt the most damage and had nothing but control from the first second that bell rang to the last second that bell rang. Those whole 5 minutes, she completely controlled. So, I don't really see how anybody could see that in Alexa's favor. It was clearly, in my opinion, if you're going to do it, the round to anybody goes to Valentina, 10-9 at least. But to me, it was a 10-8 round. And that's where it's going to push my draw. So let's get deeper into this. Going into round 4. Okay, so round 4. And yeah, flip the page because, round 4 is on the next page. Flip the page. Round starts off, and this is one of the most equal rounds. This one was a very, very hard one to score because it was back and forth. Every aspect was back and forth. The ground exchanges were back and forth. The on-feet exchanges were back and forth. Now, I'm going to read what I wrote. I put the round started in both exchanging with Valentina landing the jab. She was landing the jab at will that night. Her jab was perfect, right? You had Grasso landing the leg kicks. So every time, that's kind of what the exchange was. Valentina was landing a good jab. Grasso was landing good leg kicks, right? Damaging leg kicks too. Nothing that was crazy, but they were damaging. They were doing work. There was a couple times where you see Valentina snap her leg back after getting kicked, right? So Valentina's having more success with the jab, and she decides to shoot. She shoots. Grasso defends. Lands knees in the clinch. Now, this was one of the one of the best defended takedowns for Grasso. This one mattered so much because this was the time that she did the most damage in this round. This is what kept her alive, and this is what made it hard for me to score this round, because she started landing these knees in the clinch that you can definitely tell were damaging. She was landing some shots in the clinch, and she proceeded to get a slam. Now, when she got the slam, she went for the back. She was a little too high up, so she lost position. She couldn't get it. Valentina, switched it. She reversed it, and she didn't really have much control. It was probably about 10 seconds of control altogether. Then Alexa got up. They stood it up. They're back on the feet, and kind of the same exact thing was happening as the way that the round started, right? So, like I said, she gets slammed. Shevchenko ended up... The thing that was bothering me about Shevchenko, right? She would get that control time, right? She would get that position. And a lot of people were like, oh, she had so much control, so much control. But she did nothing with the takedowns besides in that third round, right? So in the fourth round, she didn't do anything with that moment that she had on the ground. She let Grasso back up, right? Her combinations in the fourth round were not as crisp as they were in the third round. So it was just like, it seemed like Grasso would go up, or Shevchenko would go up one round and come down the next. Go up next round, come down the next, right? So you got Grasso standing the fight back up. Then Valentina ended up opening up Grasso. Bro. Alright. So Valentina, when they got up, right, they stood up. Valentina caught her with an elbow on a clinch. Opened her up. Cut her up. So Grasso's bleeding. It was bad. That, anytime someone's bleeding, that helps the scorecards. At that point, you were seeing damage, so that's what happens. That's what happens. So she got caught with that elbow. Grasso stayed on the leg kicks the whole round, and Valentina kind of stayed with the jab. Valentina got another takedown. I can't even read my own handwriting. Sorry, it's like, I know I sound so stupid reading this. I can't even read my own handwriting. I was writing so fast trying to watch it and do it at the same time, right? But Valentina landed the jab, gets nice combos. She gets another takedown. Grasso stood up immediately. Attempt to drop to a leg lock for like the last 10 seconds of the round. Didn't really succeed to get anything. Round ends. Moving on to round 5. Like, honestly, round 4 was just as confusing and as my breakdown was for that. So, I hope that wasn't too crazy. Round 5. Oh, yeah, scoring. Round 4. I had a 10-9 to Grasso. I thought Grasso did more damage when it came to that moment. That small moment that she had mattered so much. And the fact that I didn't think Valentina was landing the same way that she was in the third round. Her shots, her combinations weren't connecting the same way. So I just had it going to Grasso. Grasso 10-9. So moving on to the 5th round. No, I'm kidding. Grasso comes out, lands beautiful right hand. Valentina starts taking over the pace right after that, right? Doesn't let her land, she starts taking over the pace. But then it's the same thing as the 4th round. Valentina was throwing combinations. Actually, no. She wasn't really throwing combinations till towards the later part of the round. She was landing that jab disgusting at the beginning of the 5th round. She was popping that shit. Popping it, landing every single one. She probably could have just jabbed her way to a victory in that one. But she shot for a takedown. Kind of a takedown. Kind of like a standing choke type of takedown to maybe go for a trip probably. And she went to go for the trip. Alexa reversed it. And that caused a huge issue for Valentina. Because Alexa started pummeling her on the ground. She started hitting her with heavy shots. She stayed active the entire time on the ground, with control, pressure. She got her in a couple submission attempts. The same one that she had her with in the last fight that she actually got her with. She got her in that neck crank. She got her in a rear naked that Valentina ended up getting out of. Very, very close, right? Ended up securing Alexa the 5th round, in my opinion. I feel like that last bit of the round mattered a lot, and I think Alexa did what she needed to do to secure that win. But at the same time, you give that 10-9 to Alexa, it doesn't matter because that 10-8 in round 3, the way that Valentina did in round 3, that ends up making the fight a draw. So you got 10-9 Shevchenko in round 1, 10-9 Grasso in round 2, 10-8 Shevchenko in 3, 10-9 Grasso in 4, 10-9 Grasso in 5, 47-47. It's a draw. And that's how my breakdown, that's how my whole review of it is. Look, if it was a little confusing, sorry, because I was trying to read this at the same time. But I don't know, it's wild. We don't get reviews, or we don't get draws that much in the UFC. We don't get draws that much in fighting to begin with. So it's wild when you get that moment. But I kind of like it because it definitely forces the fact that we have to see a third fight between these two. And I think they're both exciting to watch against each other. They kind of bring the best out of each other in a way. You see Valentina use every bit of her skill set in there. And Alexa's just so damn strong, man. Not just like physically. I mean like mentally, emotionally, like she's an animal, bro. She keeps walking through all the shots. She's ready to take yours and give some back. I fuck with that. But at the end of it all, Alexa Grasso is still the champion. So whatever's next is next. I think you got Manon Fiorot and Erin Blanchfield already basically verbally agreed on fighting to become number 1 contender. So you can make that happen. Looks like Valentina injured her hand, so she's got to get surgery. So you can make that happen. Definitely make that happen. But that's it for this episode. I appreciate you for listening. As always, you already know. If you liked it, if you enjoyed this episode of me just rambling, then do me a favor. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode comes out. And I'll catch you then. Again, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later. Peace.